So watching Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime performance earlier, Sunday, I couldn't help but be filled with a great deal of hope. And not so much hope in the performance itself. I mean, it was an amazing performance, of course. You guys watch any of these, I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. Let's be honest, I'd say it's great no matter what it was because I just really like him as an artist. But more so in the reaction to this performance, because seeing this become sort of a generational divide is really cool to me. It's given me a lot of hope, specifically in Gen Z, because I called my friend about the performance, I want to say it was last night, the night before, maybe, and he, right off the bat, before even giving his opinion, started talking about the symbolism, started talking about Samuel L. Jackson's Uncle Sam, started talking about all these things, and I was like, wow, it's so cool that this person, my friend, who's not, someone who's usually into art like that, it's not like he's the type of guy reading novels and breaking them down, and he really isn't into it at all. He's talking about this performance, and he is so into it, and, I'm not on TikTok or anything like that, but, I've seen a couple things on Instagram here and there, and things that friends have sent me about the performance. My brother sent me a bunch about it, and, everyone is breaking it down and trying to get really deep into the symbolism of it. And the generation above Gen Z, millennials, not millennials so much, I think it's more Gen X and up, but the older crowd that maybe isn't as into it, all they're doing is calling it boring. And listen, before I, come off as if I'm like, I don't want to do the stereotypical, like, okay, boomer thing, that's so played out at this point. Kendrick, I feel, made a very deliberate choice to make the performance something deeper, and, obviously a bunch of people watching the Super Bowl, let's be real, they just want flashing lights and stuff, and I, personally, really respect the fact that he went his own direction with it, and that he made it this very unique, cool thing that all of us can analyze, but, with that, of course, comes that these older generations aren't going to get it, and to me, it's filled me with a bunch of hope because, it's so cool that we're in a time that we have social media and that this new generation is open to discussing it. I mean, imagine if, I don't know, name X performance from the 90s or the 80s, the Michael Jackson performance. Imagine if he did a performance similar to the one last night or 2 nights ago or whenever you're watching this, that would be received horribly. Like, it just wouldn't be, people wouldn't give it the time of day to analyze it. Maybe looking back, people would see some symbolism in it or XYZ, whatever may come out, because I think art has a tendency to do that where it will eventually come out. But either way, the fact that we're in this time and in this generation where people are looking at this thing and going like, no, we're not going to just take this at face value. We're going to look deeper into it. Yeah, maybe this was a little bit slower. Maybe this wasn't as, flashing lights and wire induced as the usual Super Bowl halftime performance. But they're going like, he's this type of artist and we're going to look at it this way and we're going to analyze it. That fills me with hope because, I don't know, I just think it shows a certain level of nuance that this generation has. And I think that's so cool. That maybe, I'm not going to go and be like, oh, we're the first people to ever do this. Certainly not. But it's awesome. It's really cool. And it got me thinking about hope because, I was watching FD Signifier. He's an awesome YouTuber. And he was saying basically like, this performance is a call to action. That was kind of his interpretation of the performance, right? And I thought that was interesting. And it got me thinking about not just the hope I feel from, seeing the reaction to the performance, but hope as a concept. And I also began thinking of it because I was reading The Myth of Sisyphus by Camus, and he has this one line that I'm going to kind of take out of context, just talk about this one line in particular, where he says, hope or suicide, right? Inferring kind of that these two things are the opposite to each other, that suicide would be a lack of hope, and hope would be the option of continuing onwards. And I think, looking at that, there's a sense in which it's true, for sure. I mean, I think you could say that the statement that hope is continuing onward and that hope is the opposite of suicide is relatively, good. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense, but the idea that suicide would be a lack of hope is really interesting to me, because I don't know if it's necessarily true. I don't know if that goes both ways. And it got me thinking about hope in my life and just what a role it's played. I mean, in a sense, I kind of am doing it every day. You know what I mean? I make these, I paint things, and I hope that the painting comes out good. I hope that these videos resonate with people. There's so much blind hope that goes into this because of the way I live my life, and it's interesting, I remember when I was younger, I want to say this was 6th grade, I was probably 10, so I don't know, this is the craziest story, I can't believe I'm saying this. There was this Green Lantern comic, Darkest Night, I think is the name of the comic, where they have all the lanterns. So in the Green Lantern comics, there's a bunch of different colored rings. There's willpower, which is green. There's fear, which is yellow. There's rage, which is red. And then there is hope, which is blue. And they did this limited time comic store thing where if you bought some Green Lantern comics, you could get one of the rings with it. So I got all 9 rings, right? And I would wear them to school, and I'd wear the ring based on my emotion of the day. And my English teacher, every day, would stop me and he'd be like, what ring are you wearing today? What emotion are you feeling today? And I found that I only ever wore hope. That was the only one I ever wore. I really wish I had these rings now, because as embarrassing as this was, and I see why I got bullied for it when I was 10, that's the sickest thing ever. I would be wearing the hope ring right now. I would. I would wear these as fashion accessories, because that's so awesome. But I just still think it's interesting that I kept wearing that above all else. I think to an element, or an element of it rather, is that my teacher was asking me about them, so I'd be embarrassed going I feel rage today, and having a red ring on. But why hope? Why not willpower? Or I know love was one of them. Why not love? They had light and darkness. Why not light, or life and death, more accurately? Why not either of those? It's interesting they kept choosing hope. And I think a part of it is that I kind of have this predisposition to these very I don't know if they're romantic ideals. I think they're technically Enlightenment ideals. A lot of the stuff that Rousseau talks about, liberty, freedom, all these hoity-toity concepts that are very romanticized in the modern day. I definitely do have a predisposition to it, but it got me thinking about hope in my own life of I've always kind of just lived, hoping, and to an extent I don't love that about myself, because I feel there's a way in which that's kind of made it so I'm not in the moment maybe as much as I should be. But I also wouldn't want it any other way, because knowing that tomorrow is better than today is that's the whole thing for me. You know what I mean? And I specifically want to know that tomorrow is going to be better than today. Not the same as today, but that there is hope that tomorrow is going to be better. And, sometimes that doesn't happen. I mean, just realistically, right? I can't ensure that I'm going to have a better tomorrow than I do today. That's just not possible. Sometimes tomorrow's going to be far, far worse than today. We've all been there. That's just how life works. But that's why I think hope is so big, because you gotta hope that tomorrow is better. Or why would you, I guess in that sense, maybe hope and suicide could be contrasted. Because if you were to think tomorrow is definitely going to be worse than today, not oh, I know I have a funeral tomorrow, it's gonna be a terrible day, right? That's different. I mean more so having a nihilism about life in terms of no, the future is worse, the future is going to be worse, and I can't make it better, or I'm not gonna try and make it better. How? How do you keep going with that idea? Is that not, I mean, I guess that's just what nihilism is, but devoid of the whole conversation about, like, does life have a meaning? Ignoring all that stuff that I've talked about ad nauseum at this point. Kind of an annoying amount in these paint and talks, if I'm being honest. Why not hope that tomorrow is going to be better? And I kind of don't, I don't, like I said, I don't love the fact that I've always had only a sense of hope that tomorrow is going to be better. Not because I want tomorrow to be worse, but because I'd like to for once go, I know tomorrow will be better, not I hope, Maybe I already said I know, that's a misspeak, because I don't say that. I say, I hope tomorrow's going to be better. I'm going to try to make tomorrow better, but I ultimately don't know. And I think that's, the part of it that I don't like, because hope infers a certain level of, a certain lack of power, right? For me to go, I hope tomorrow is better, versus I'm going to make tomorrow better, is two very different statements. Even when I say I hope, I still am going to try my best to make it better, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying I hope. And that's the part of it that I don't really love, because, I'd love for once in my life to feel that I have the full means to make tomorrow better no matter what. And I guess to an extent it's impossible, like it's kind of just a wrong thing for me to say, because I am powerless in so many ways. I can make tomorrow better by making sure I make plans with a friend and something I can really look forward to. That's one way you can make tomorrow better. But like I said in my self-improvement episode, you can't improve your way out of society. You know what I mean? There's so much that's still going to be weighing down no matter how much you try, right? So for me to go, I hope tomorrow's better, and knowing that I'm going to work to make tomorrow better, it still infers a certain level of powerlessness, that I'm like always just going to be a dreamer. I'm never going to be someone who actually is living in tomorrow where it's better. And that's where I don't love it, But I do, because I wouldn't take it any other way, except for that hope being fulfilled. But I guess, the big fear then is the hope gets filled and it's just empty. I guess all I'm trying to say is, to make a culturally relevant Weekend reference here, Hurry Up Tomorrow. I think that'll play great. I think people will really enjoy that. I think that was, I think people are really going to resonate with the Hurry Up Tomorrow reference. I haven't listened to it yet, so, we'll see if that resonates with people, but I'm sure it will. I know it will. Anyways, this is the painting. I talked a lot about hope today, and this is the colors I envision my future to be in, whenever I imagine it, even though I think the brown should be darker. It is a little light on the canvas. But outside of that, this is the painting. Go check it out on the Instagram with a little caption specifying some things about it, multiple angles. Instagram's also the best place to keep up with me. You guys know all that. And until tomorrow, guys, gals, and pals, this has been Paint and Talk episode 43. I'm here every day painting and talking with you all.